spent my first 15 years trying to get out of the woods because I thought it was horrible. And I spent the next 20 years trying to get back. The truth of the matter is we need to be well-rounded individuals like our forefathers were. Here we go. It's another Mountain Readiness Monday. I'm your host, T, coming at you live from the Appalachia Mountains here in North Carolina. We've got a good show tonight. This is going to be an awesome show tonight. But before we jump into it, remember, likes, share, subscribe, do that stuff for us, guys. Make the algorithm gods happy so that they shine favor upon us and push us out all over the social media land. Who we got in the house today? We got an apocalyptic prepper. What's going on? Mr. Matt King. Look here, Matt. I got my shirt on. Matt King made there. That's right. Your wife, my wife. That's how we roll. Awesome shirt.
I need more of those. I got one. I need more.
We need more. We need more. And of course, the Triple G, the go-to gear guy, Mr. Brian Loftus, who has taken the time to jump in here with us, even though he is just completely covered up in orders because tis the season.
It is. It is.
I appreciate it. Nielsen's, what's going on? Mr. Paul Christopher, what's going on there, guys? Huge fan of Alan K. I am also a huge fan of Alan K. And without further ado, Mr. Alan K. The lighting is perfect, Alan.
Namaste. Thank you. I worked hard for this. Yes.
It's great.
Nice
It's almost, it has that alone type of look. You know, all you need is a poncho at this point, and it's like an advertisement.
Yes, it's functional yet seductive. I like it. It's balanced. I like every red light.
It's your good side. Good side right there. Perfect side. Tom Bryce, what's going on, Tom? I still haven't forgot about you on those knives, those tomahawks. They are in process. I've been covered up. My apologies. So guys, we brought Alan K on here. Alan, what have you been up to? It's been a while. We got the Khukuri going on, another Khukuri. Let's start with that. Knives, Khukuri. Is that just the number one pick, and why?
A Khukuri? Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the do-all tool, man. Like as far as edged implements go, that is like the most multifaceted thing ever. It's all the things in one. It's amazing. I mean, the only downside, if there is one, is that it is unwieldy. It's hard to roll around Walmart, with one of those strapped onto you. But for every day, honestly, I'll do something small, man, like a Mora or a sock pea or just something sharp, But like if I know that I'm going to the woods, like that's the first thing I grab is a Khukuri. If I know I'm going to travel, it's the first thing I grab. In my vehicle, it stays here. That's what I was actually just checking. Once in a while, I have to rub olive oil on there because my truck gets pretty humid, But
Alan, absolutely.
I have a question. You said Mora. What brand or like what type of Mora? Which model?
My go-to is the Bushcraft Black. I love the handle. It's really comfortable because like if you're working all day, you get hot spots sometimes and wear a blister, like if you're doing serious wood crafting and stuff. But like that grip to me, I've never had a hot spot. You can work all day doing firecraft and stuff. And
that's spongy grip. Spongy.
Yes. The other part I love is it has a little bit of tackiness to it. It's a non-slip type deal. So when you're skinning something or processing, you got blood all over you, it's good for that too. It's just an all around awesome blade. And then I carry all of them. I've got everyone from the cheap one to the great. And, I think we overthink knives, honestly, sometimes, because like I tell myself, I find these artifacts around here and I'm like, well, our ancestors did this with a broken rock, like a piece of a stone, not even a whole stone, just a small thing. And they processed, buffalo and elk and everything else. So, don't get me wrong. I love Essie. I love Essie. I've got an Essie. They made one that's kind of like a Mora profile. I don't know the name of it, but when I say Mora, I carry that Essie. It's Mora S.
The SE4.
No, that's what my wife carries. Oddly enough, my wife carries the big 4. Mine's much smaller than that. It looks like a small companion or something. It's kind of that blade profile. I have to look at the name of it. I carry that Essie pretty much all the time. It's always especially if I'm processing an animal or something, it's really good for that. But I love a sock P too. A sock P spear point. Can't go wrong with that.
That's a nice blade.
Yeah,
I like that blade myself. I like that blade myself for sure.
Yeah, it's enough.
So Khukuri or axe, you can only pick one. We still
dude, you already know Khukuri. and I'm gonna tell you why. I'll tell you why. I've got a reason for that. So I always think about, what if I'm incapacitated? So yeah, can you use a camp axe or something one-handed? Sure, but and back in the day, like I've actually a little background. I used to do a lot of that kind of work with hand tools. Like I've chopped a lot of trees and things like that back in my youth. So I've had an axe in my hands. I've had a Khukuri in my hands since I was 10. And I did a test one day on a twin trunk poplar tree, where I took one of those S-twing camp axes, with the blue handle, and it was razor sharp. I had my Khukuri. It was razor sharp. I want to say it was if I remember right, is a 12-inch blade. And so I cut down the one side of the twin trunk, and by visual estimation, they were by all comparison pretty much equal. And I did the chop with the S-wing first. That part fell, counted the chops. I don't recall the number. I don't remember what it was. Then I did the other section with the Khukuri, and it was the same. I had the same amount of output, and I'm carrying a small thing that I can wear on my hip and use as a draw knife and skin things, do all this other stuff. And I know you can do it all with an axe. I've done it too. But it's a much smaller package. It's not, on your rut getting hung on stuff. And there again, that one-handed operation, and I've used it a lot as a draw knife, as a scythe, for harvesting grasses and other materials. It's just, I had a goat herd. I got up to 50 head of goat at my zenith there. And I was butchering the males when they weren't going to be breeders, which was, every year. And head comes right off, one stroke. And just the other day, we processed the deer same way, head off, all the things. I processed the animal entirely with my Khukuri. And then my wife, SE4 is what she was using. So she took the SE4 and gutted it, got the guts out, and was starting to skin it. And then when she got down to where it was hanging, I came and kind of quartered it out with the Khukuri. But when I do them start to finish. But yeah, so that's
well. And I have an Alan K. Khukuri special that you gifted me, which I love. And
that thing is a beast. Yeah,
that is a monster. It's for 3/8-inch thick steel. I mean, that is a 3/8-inch thick.
I know, man.
Blade.
It's like a sharpened crowbar.
You can split hairs with that blade. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed how sharp a 3/8-inch thick Khukuri can actually be. What's the secret? I mean, you sat there. Is it a honing stone thing? What do you do? What did you do to get that blade to where it was at?
Okay, on the sharpening. Well, first off, remind me in case I forget. I'll come back to sharpening. But first, I have to tell you about the man that made that blade. There's a guy in Nepal who I'm friends with. His name is Neem, and he handcrafts blades, and it's second to none. You guys know what a gambrel is, like the metal double hook thing where you hang a carcass. So one day I was working a story behind Neem's knives. I've got multiple ones made from him, but like, I kind of mislicked, and like the last half inch of the tip hit that gambrel, and it was all metal, bro. And so I'm like, ooh, you know, am I going to look down and see my tip gone? Is there going to be a big knock out of there? Nothing. No visual damage to the blade, and it was still functionally sharp. So first off, the right steel, properly tempered by a Nepalese dude that's got it dialed in. That's what they do. Like, that's where the Khukuri come from, you know. So first off, start with some good metal, 1095, 1075, somewhere in that family, you know.
So there. So that one that you gave me, that he made that then.
Yeah, that's I believe that was like a 10. I don't know it's either 1075 or 1095. I don't remember. But the trick is like the way they tempered that, man, because I've seen a couple of other his knives, like, and he just like, I don't know what either the metal's made out of unobtainium or they quench it in unicorn tears. I don't know what he does, but I've never seen a blade like they're producing over there. And so that's the first part. Now, as to the sharpening, I use various things for sharpening depending upon how bad off that blade is. And I try to only sharpen my knife once, and then I maintain that edge the rest of the duration, right? I try to. Now, I'm human, things happen in life, and occasionally I do have to pull out a stone and really, but I mean, a strop will maintain your blade for a long, long time, and not, you don't really lose a lot through attrition that way. So I'm into using the least abrasive method possible. So like when I'm sharpening, I might start off with maybe a mild filing, and then start with stones and work your way down, and then end up with a strop. So that's really it. And the technique is, as the knife gets sharper, sorry, we just had a blackout there. The Chinese have attacked. Everybody grab your
As the knife gets sharper, your face gets darker.
Yeah. And days get darker. So as the knife gets sharper,
in the minds of men,
what I try to do is my sharpening device becomes less and less aggressive, and my technique is less and less aggressive. And so by the time I get down to that last little bit, I'm just kind of showing the blade to the strop and just letting it gently caress, man. I mean, so it's this thing that you just keep working it down, down, and down. And I do it with natural stones in the woods. I mean, the medium you use is really irrelevant so long as it's the appropriate grit, you know. And you can take two stones. That's what I did on the island. Find them that they're reasonable, and if they have like some red coloration in them, that's kind of indicative of a good thing. Or, you know, you just kind of get to looking for that right property, and then you put some water in there and rub them together until you get a perfectly flat, uniform place. And that became my stone, and it was pretty narrow, actually, the actual portion that I sharpened with. And I maintained my Khukuri out there razor sharp the whole time, and I used it daily, you know, multiple times. But yeah, I'm convinced God carries a Khukuri. Like, I think everybody's going to be shocked when they get to meet the deity. He's standing there with a Khukuri on his hip, because why would you carry anything else, man? Yeah.
See that? I can see that. What you got, Brian?
I have a question here.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so you have the Khukuri.
Yep.
So what type of steel is the Khukuri? And aside from the Khukuri, for your, you know, average, I don't want to say average everyday blade,
yeah,
but your average alone blade, what do you carry? What type of steel is it?
What I'm not clear on your question. When you say a long blade, which?
So for your Khukuri, so two
You're
different
talking about the one I had on the island, or
your Khukuri? Yeah. Your Khukuri, what type of steel is it?
The one I had on the island was made by Condor. It was the heavy duty Khukuri, and it was made in El Salvador. And I think 1095, but I don't know. You'll have to look at their specs. Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. So what about your regular blade? Like your average everyday blade that you carry there, your camp knife, your whittling knife, what type of steel was that blade?
Right. So every day, like you're looking at two small blades, you know, a sock piece spear point, and then there's honestly this other thing is like a Chinese knockoff that wants to be a longer sock pea that's in a really good blade profile, and the sheath fitting is awesome, but I modified it and I made it work. And I use the non-legit sock pea for kind of my grubby knife, because I'm always opening bags of feed, cutting stuff, this, that, the other. So for daily tasks, I use that knife just because it's a little bit longer and more useful for that. And then the sock piece Spear Point Mini, I try to keep that like a scalpel. And if the need arises for a more refined edge, then I have that as well. Or, if you want to fill both hands with steel and get busy, you can. And so it's got that duality of weapon and tool kind of thing.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now,
and it's a concept I started
here.
testing like a year ago, because back to my earlier statement when I'm like, our ancestors did it with a little flake of stone. And so I looked at the Sock P Mini Spear Point and I'm like, bro, that's the modern, like, yeah, let's do it. And so I started out, like, I skinned a couple small things, skinned some bigger stuff, just carried it every day and didn't have anything else on me and made do with it. And are there times I wish I had a little more knife when I was doing that? Yeah. Hence the second one with the slightly longer blade. But that's a good balance for me, and I can do daily life with that. The Khukuri and my axe, which I also have in here, is relegated to the truck. My Khukuri is either on the ruck or on the truck. And then the type of sheath I have, it's actually one I designed. It's got a quick on attach, so I can put it on my belt when I need it, like if I'm actually working where I'm going to be using it, resheathing it. One thing I can't stand is laying your knife down. Like, I don't do it. It's bad juju. Put your knife back in the sheath or something, put it back where it lives.
Right.
And that's the point of discussion around the house a lot. My wife open hers up or something and leave it laying around. It makes me crazy. But yeah, I never lay my knife down. So if I'm going to be using it, I have a sheath so that I can return it, because I might need both hands free to do another thing. And then, I need to cut another thing. One hand deployment, bam, boom. Yeah. So that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Or like we've seen, you lay it down and the next thing you know, it gets gone and you don't got it no more. Even on some of these shows. Look, we got Jax Janega in the house. Jax, what's going on? Of course, Jax, she's going to be doing some land navigation classes
What's up,
at
Jax?
Mountain Readiness. Yeah, Mrs. Jax Janega, Wildcard Wilderness. Jax, are you going to be joining us this coming January for the Alan K. Winter Weather Wonderland class? We're going to call it the Winter Weather Wonderland class. And guys, we still have spots open if you are interested. This is going to be an awesome. I want to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into some questions. But
yes,
I talked with Alan, guys, about a class that focuses on that whole concept of less is more and how hard is survival really. Because I think there is a lot of schools and classes out there that kind of maybe they're just a little soft, for lack of a better term. And survival is not easy, right? And this here is grid down. We want it as grid down. It's the worst of the worst. It's cold. Maybe it's going to rain. Who knows? I've got people blowing me up. They say, what do we take to this class? What do we take to this class? And the whole point of this class is you decide what you need to take to survive for those 3 days. And we were talking about this earlier, Alan. Why don't you jump in on what we were talking about of the less is more and what this class entails?
Yeah, none of that crap matters, because when they show up, we're taking all the crap anyway. We're going to waterboard them as soon as they get off the bus, so it doesn't matter. Now, I tell you that we were talking about this when this class developed, and I was like, yeah, man, but I hate packing lists, okay? And here's why I don't really give people a packing list, because sure as hell, it'll be, oh, you forgot to tell me about this, that, and the other. I didn't forget shit. I ain't your mama. Secondly, if by now, if you're an adult and you don't know what it takes for you, like, to not freeze to death, like, I don't know what that means for you. Give me this Whoopie hoodie and my shell, and I'm generally good down to the teens. But my wife, 40 degrees, she's in level 7 Arctic kit, and I'm over there dying, just stripped down. True story. We were on the mountain the other night camping out. I had like 7 layers of crap on her, and I started shucking my clothes off. I had no shirt on, man. I'm dying in here. And she's over there talking about naked. She's cold. I was like, how are you dead? Where's your blood, man? But in all fairness, I'm 240 pounds. She's 114 pounds. So, like, she just don't have it, the insulation. So for me to tell her what to pack, hell, I don't know. I'm still learning that myself, and I'm married to her. So how am I going to tell a stranger, yo, bro, bring 2 quilts, extra pair of socks, chapstick? I don't know. Like, bring whatever, and we're not going to let you die. There's a difference between comfortable and dead, and I'm not going to let you be dead. Like, that's it.
That's it.
But,
That's it. So guys, this class is coming up. I've got a banner. Where is it at? There. Grid Down Survival, right there, Harmony, North Carolina. You can get it on www.mountainreadiness.com. Go to courses, check it out, get your spot. And
honestly, dude, like if you're already an expert and you know a lot of shit, just don't come, because if you're one of those that have the mentality that everything is basics and beneath you and you levitate above the rest of us with your Jedi status, I don't want you. A lot of what I'm going to talk about, there's only so much you can talk about, but a lot of what we're going to talk about is not, creating your own tragedy, not overcomplicating these things in your own mind, which I see people do all the time. And suddenly there's survival instructors popping up behind every bush in the last, 15, 20 years, whatever. But the thing I want to know in an instructor is, do they have any depth? How long have they done it? And how many different situations have they done it? Like, if I go to a dentist, I want one that's pulled some teeth before, man, not just one that graduated, read some books, So, and that's one thing about Jax I love, is she's got depth. That gal has got her shit dialed in. I love, like, she's a legit instructor. So anything she's going to teach is going to be awesome. So if you can go learn from her, definitely do that. And I kind of come full circle. I started out like probably everybody else did, way back in the day, little young shiny-eyed buck, and I just wanted to figure it all out, man. Like, how did we do it before we lived the way we live now, which clearly ain't working. So
no.
I started out by hitting up all the old people in my area. Hey, man, teach me this, teach me that. And I had old dudes teaching me all kinds of stuff, from, knife sharpening techniques to coon dogs to this and that. And then I sought out and got a chance to cross-pollinate with some, natives and some high-level instructors. And it's like, over the years, there we went again. It just picked up, until one layer on top of another layer. And you just keep making mistakes. And after you make mistakes long enough, you get reasonably good at it. And it's just like anything else in life. It's reps and sets. Repetition. And so I guess that's the thing I try to do for people. I try to look at each individual student and figure out what I need to do to make them leave better. Like, I try to identify where is the void in them that needs to be filled. Is it self-confidence? Is it fitness? Whatever it is, and proportionate to their age, condition, and all the other things. There's just a lot of variables. People are super complex, so you got to look through all the variables. But it's people overcomplicate survival. It's really not that complicated. And if you're alive, if you're hearing my voice, congratulations. You're a survival expert. You managed to not die up to this point. So you got to be at least above average intelligence. You're not walking out in front of traffic yet. So that's good. And but a lot of it, is conditioning your mind. A lot of it is the big 2 things I'm going to tell you is, don't freeze to death, and get a drink of water. And if you can do those 2 things, you're winning. You got time on food. We overthink food. You got time on that. Just keep your mindset right. Understand how to source water, how to make water safe to drink, how to transport water, understand everything there is about water, and understand how to not die from freezing to death. And there's many different ways you can skin that cat, but you need to understand the principles of insulation, and you need to understand the physiology of the human body. And then lesson 1 for me is, I think every human on the planet Earth should know how to make a shelter with nothing. No knife, no kit. You and your bare hands out there on the earth. Build something that you can crawl into and not die on a cold night. And that's a lot of work. And there's a lot of tips and tricks to that. And so that's definitely something we'll cover. We'll cover friction fire, even though I hope you never have to do that. If you find yourself having to do a friction fire, you've screwed up so many ways already. But I do believe,
you're in a bad place.
Yeah, but I do believe that every human being, it is your birthright, no matter who you came from, black, Chinese, wherever. Your ancestors rubbed sticks for fire. Your ancestors made tools of stone or bone or shell. and they twisted fibers into things, clothing and cordage and whatnot. So this is something that belongs to all of us. This is one thing I love about survival is it connects all of humanity. No matter what color your skin is, who you sleep with, or who you pray to, we all have that in common, right? Water, shelter, fire, food, and security, man. We got to figure that out for ourselves. And I just love that. I love seeing people come out and do that, especially younger people, you know, getting them outside more and passing on some of these skills. Because when you think about it, like if you went to your average person, you're like, hey, bro, I'm going to grab you and I'm going to drop you off in the woods for like 3 days and I'm going to come back. Most people would freak out. They'd panic, you know? And the thing about that is it's so sad is like, that's your native habitat. As a human, your native habitat is out there, like in those trees, man, in that grass.
In the woods.
But we live in all these little boxes with, you know, and we just, actually we're dying, we're devolving, we're in a de-evolutionary spiral, right?
Well,
and
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So, you know, my wife Amber and I, of course, watched you when you were on Alone, and we knew. I mean, I told you know, we both sat there. We said, this guy is going to win. I think you personally knew that you were going to win deep down. You didn't think so.
Had
See,
no
for
idea,
me,
bro.
state
I had
of
no
mind,
idea. I had
zero.
no idea. None.
Well, your confidence level was here.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like most people think like, no, I mean, it's in the moment. Like that's what I try to teach is you live here, like now and now, like it's moment to moment. The ever present now is just kind of moving along like this, and you can stay in it or not. Most people are not in it, and you can hear it in their conversation. Like they're talking about old stuff or they're talking about something that ain't happened yet and it's not current, it's not relevant. And so that's another thing is how to be efficient, not only in our energy expenditure out in the bush, but in here. There's only so much bandwidth. I can only care about so much, man. And then at some point I got to be like, don't care. So, you know, I just look at in survival, I even strip that down more severely. Like I'm looking through the eye of a needle. What's going to kill me first? What's going to kill me next? And as I check those boxes and I look to the next, to the next, to the next, and I want to push my event horizon, my event window out as far as I can from me. I want to have as much margin for error as I can build in. And it's all about slowing down and doing the work in here before you try to do it out here and realize, oh, I had an oversight. Now I've wasted this. I have to redo a thing. So I talk a lot about mindset and how to approach problem solving and how to be smarter, not harder, because efficiency is a thing, man. Like efficiency is survival. And we are so inefficient that if our ancient forebears, the hunter-gatherers, lived as we do by spending more than they create, you know, eating more, burning more energy than you're getting calories back in, we would all be dead not having this conversation. And that's really kind of how we're living now. I looked at a bag of trail mix once. I've talked about this before. I had this huge epiphany around a single bag of trail mix. So this bag has got all the ingredients listed, like this kind of nut from Argentina, this kind of fruit from, you know, wherever, New Zealand, this from here, this from Canada, this from Morocco, this from South Africa. And so in this bag of trail mix, there were like 10 or 11 countries represented where each of these ingredients came from. So I kind of I stopped for a minute and I looked in my mind's eye and saw like the whole world. And I'm playing it out in my mind like a movie. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing that each individual people out there toiling, producing, picking, transporting, carrying the baskets, loading it on the truck, 10 different locations on the planet. And then it has to be, you know, via boat, train, pack mule, goat wagon, whatever the case may be, to get to a place, then flown, shipped. Then all those ingredients have to come to one spot. And then you have to produce that bag, had to be put in a bag. Then you got a box, case lot, put in there. Then you got a driver, comes along using his caloric energy, his fuel energy in that vehicle, everything it took to in the distribution center. If you quantify, if it were even possible to quantify all the energy that went into that bag, right? Then at the end, I, the consumer, have to take my money, my monetary energy, which is time. Time is the fabric from which life is woven, and I gave it up to get this worthless paper. Then I'm going to take my caloric energy, my fuel energy in my vehicle, which is also attached to monetary energy, and then drive there, which is more time, to harvest what is ultimately a snack. You hear me? Like, think about
No,
the calories. Think
you're
about the
dead on.
calories in that. So let's look at it like a mathematical problem, right? So like, if it were possible, and I'm sure somebody smarter than me that knows how to do math and stuff could figure it out, but if we could quantify how much energy went into this bag of trail mix, this snack, and then also look at what is imparted to the end user in the form of actual usable, food energy, I think we could all agree there's a huge imbalance there, right? Way more energy goes in than we get out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if that
P. Robert Tucci,
continues,
a million calories for 500 calories worth of nuts. Yes,
yeah, I
that's
even heard
exactly
one
it.
story. There was an orchard somewhere. They were sending apples and putting them on cargo ships and sending apples to China, and they were sending apple sauce back to the U.S.
Yeah.
What kind of boom? Like what? So I'm thinking,
Yeah.
bro, you got an apple orchard right here. Process the apples next to it and sell the apples right there. And that's like, wow, man, we've got to localize stuff. I think COVID taught us that. This whole
Yes.
disjointed supply line is mind boggling. But anyway,
It's sad. It's
yeah,
sad. It's sad where we have become as a nation. And you're right. Yeah, I will never look at a thing of trail mix the same because of what you've just said. That's monumental, but it's accurate. I also think that we've overcomplicated food in itself. It's like everything that we consume is 500 ingredients. I've been trying to. We've got chickens, we've got goats, we've got the gardens. So I don't have eggs with all the sauce and fancy. I take 6 eggs in the morning, I throw them in the pan, I scramble them up, and I eat them. The end. Here's some eggs. Here's a piece of meat. Why we got to
yeah,
throw all this crap on top of it?
yeah.
It's not necessary. We've just gotten too fancy, and it is a waste of time. 4 pieces of paper with dead people on it. I couldn't agree more. That's we got hey Matt, look here. Interested in class? You don't have to know anything. In fact, if you don't know anything, you're the best student in the world.
You really are, because then you don't come with any preconceived notions or anything that somebody told you that is insane.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the case. I used to hire mechanics off the street. Well, Matt, we've worked together for years. Hire people who knew nothing and train them up myself because it's way easier to not deal with all that shit that gets in people's heads because they think they know everything because they've done it forever. Matt also asked, let's see, Alan was watching your season 1 of Alone. You were eating a slug. That was entertaining. I will say that. I have a question. What was your first meal after spending 57 days in the wilderness? It was 56, wasn't it?
Yeah.
56 days?
Yeah.
So the slug thing was hilarious. I love that. But it probably took you a month to get back to normal of being able to consume normal food, didn't it?
Not too bad. There was a little adjustment. I kind of overdid it at the beginning. I'll tell that story. But so back to the slug thing. So I didn't just eat one slug, dude. I ate a plethora of slugs. Like, I'm talking slug asada, like every day. Because they were plentiful, right? And that's a good source. Now, also for the children watching at home, you need to cook a slug. Okay, don't try to be a cool guy and eat one raw. Do some research on rat lungworm, right? Look that up. I don't know how to say the scientific name. It starts with an A and it's like 6 inches long. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like this parasite you can get. And that's also like my personal rule: bug, slug, all that stuff. Snail. I'm going to cook that, right? You see people eating raw stuff on TV and drinking elephant dunk. Like, come on, man. Like, use this. But yeah, and they're delicious now when you cook them. So that's the slug part. Now back to answering the question, which is what was my meal. I wouldn't call it a meal because here's what I remember that I did is I took a jar of peanut butter because I had deep dreams about peanut butter while I was out there, man. Like, I'm talking, I can't convey it to you. And so I was like, I want some peanut butter. And instead of using a spoon, I'm a chocoholic, okay? Like,
Oh yeah.
I'm weak for chocolate, bro. Like I love it. So I use the chocolate as a delivery device for the peanut butter. And I got a big mouthful of that, and I laid back, you know, on the mattress and ate it, and the room started to spin like that first drunk you get, and whenever you had that. Some of you probably never had, I don't know, but like where you know, hey man, my body ain't moving, but this room is rotating around my body. So something with my perception is off. That's what I experienced, dude. I got drunk on Hershey's and whatever brand peanut butter it was. And but it took a few minutes for that to go away, and I was like, whoa, bro, I better slow roll this thing. Because I gotta come in slow. And then after that, I think I did some kind of we went to town. Let's see, was it like a seafood thing with some pasta maybe? And the thing I remember about that night is I stepped out on the street and I froze when I saw the headlights. That's a whole separate story, but like something switched off in my brain. I didn't realize this thing was moving as fast as it was. It's like for just a moment experience what a deer experience is like. What the hell is that? And it's fast. Oh, it's here. Oh, and the people with me are like, bro, move, man. But I was kind of out of it, and not that was the peanut butter. I've been hitting the head a lot too, though, so that could be it. I never claimed dormancy or any of that.
We got from the land down under, Mrs. Susan Britcher in the house. Thanks
Susan
for joining
Britcher.
us, Susan. Yes, and of course we're going to miss you, Susan.
Aussie. Oi, oi, oi. Doing the tam slams.
Oh man, I tell you, the first one I've ever had in my life was Susan hooked me up. I did not know that was a thing. That was amazing, man.
I was trying to lose weight when I went down there on that trip, man. And I was doing tam slams to the point that I thought I was going to have to get on insulin. And then Emery and Carl had me shooting so much. And Wick, my hands were like, even after I got home, man, my hands were bleeding and raw. I couldn't use them for a few days, but that was a great time, man.
Like, I did 5 days with Carl on the range. I don't even know how many thousands of rounds we went through that. My middle finger had a blister from slamming the trigger guard so many times. I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing, that your middle finger could get rubbed raw from hitting a trigger guard over and over and over again. But yeah, that's they definitely don't spare any expense on ammunition when it comes to the range. And of course, Susan, there you have it. There she is. The native tongue of Australia right there.
Well, you know, I didn't know they had Australian gunslingers until she came up. I was like, who's this girl? She's from Australia. And she's like, she whips out a Glock and just starts laying the smack down. I was like, dang, girl.
Yeah, I didn't.
But, so I guess they get it done, man. You know?
She was on the range for 5 straight days last May with Carl and all them guys in the rain. She said it was awesome, but she said if she never sees a porta john again, she's good. She said the porta john was the deal breaker. She was good other than that. You know, you had a thing that I don't know who said it or if it was something that you had said, Alan, but you said that you could actually, when you came back from the 56 days there, doing the lone show, that when you got back to civilization, you could actually hear the electricity and the current in a house. Is that true?
Yeah, I had to go outside, bro. It's too much. And light, like artificial light, one little, like the old school stove that had like the one digital clock on it, that might as well be a flare, man. Like, it's your sensory perception changes. Something changes for sure. And then slowly, I guess you just come back to this thing. But
so we're just desensitized then, is pretty much so where we're at in this life currently.
Yeah, but not even that. It's not even at that level of like auditory or visual. We're desensitized to our soul, to our DNA, to our bone marrow, man. Like, and that's really the crux of the whole problem, is the hearts and minds of people. That is the battleground, my friends. We have to come into our hearts and minds, and we got to get right, work it out, figure out how we're going to move forward as a species on this rock, man, because it's, there's a lot to work with there. But
no, I agree. I think we have we've traded in all the good for convenience. I think that's what it's come down to. In the name of convenience,
Yeah.
that's what we've done. People can't live without their microwaves these days. Oh man, I can't. Or Netflix or this or that. Yeah, we've traded in the best for convenience. I think is where we're at in this world.
Yeah.
So
Listen, I'm totally fine without Netflix. No Netflix, no microwave. That's fine.
Yeah.
Take my coffee away from me, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Okay? I'll kill you.
I was just thinking while you were
I
talking.
need my coffee, bro. I gotta have my coffee.
I was
That's
just thinking like Cafe Bustelo. You know that one? You drink that?
No, no Starbucks.
No,
Percolator, it's fine.
Cafe Bustelo. That's the coffee, man. Like that's what you got. That's what I take to the woods, and like that's the one thing I would miss if it all went, tango uniform. Man, I would be like, dang, no more Cafe Bustelo packets. You take 2, you rip them open, half a canteen cup of water, and you're good to hook, baby. That's what's up in the morning. That's my go-to.
I don't think I've tried these. I don't believe I've tried these.
That's Cuban coffee, bro. Cafe Bustelo. It's in the yellow can. If you have any Cuban friends, man, they'll hook you up with a cafe con leche.
But Alan, what would you do if you did not have that option? What would you do?
Without, like everybody else did. I'd do without. I mean, I guess what your closest natural default in my area would be like roasted dandelion root. I would make a beverage out of that. Because that's what they did back in the day. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what I'd go back to. I don't know.
Acorn,
or I would just drink water and cleanse my kidneys of all them years of coffee. Because like I always think about, I drink coffee, it goes in black and it comes out clear, man. Like what's happening inside me, man? Like I might switch to water. I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's going somewhere. It comes out clear.
My thing is coffee and chocolate. Like you said, chocolate. That's when I was down last time there to your place, I was out there chewing on a chocolate bar, drinking coffee. I mean, I can't live without it. But Emery got me spoiled on the Jew coffee. Whatever that is over there, man. I don't know. That stuff's amazing.
Did you just say the Jew coffee?
Yeah. No,
you said the Jew coffee.
He made that stuff.
The Jew coffee.
I never slept the whole time. Emery was at my house for like a week and a half. I never slept because he kept making this coffee, and then he made some shashuka, which was amazing. So let Emery cook for you and make coffee. Like that's the team barista. That's the guy. And
we did that. That's where I did my first Tim Tam slam, of course, with Susan, but. We videotaped Emery making his special coffee right there. So I did a Tim Tam slam with Jew coffee. That's how that went down. We had Jew coffee with the Tim Tam slam. There was no going back at that point. Chocolate, Jew coffee, it was a done deal. So amazing. Yes, Emery makes great coffee. I need to publish that video too. I still have the video. I filmed the whole thing of Emery, and of course, Carl was there, Sue was there. It was a complete shit show. I mean, it was entertaining just without the coffee. You throw the coffee in there and made it even better. But so we've got this class coming up here in a few weeks. Of course, we're going to be doing, guys, jump on there, get you a spot. This is going to be one of those life-changing classes. I bought a spot. Hell, because I'm that excited to do same thing with Brian. I'm that excited to do this type of class because I grew up this way. I grew up without electricity, running water, living in tents and all that kind of stuff. But there was a difference. At that time, we were really good at starving. All right. And this here will be that next level of learning some more of those primitive skills so that you don't have to starve. Starving is good. Don't get me wrong. It's good to starve a little bit. It makes you humble, makes you appreciate. But I'm fired up. This is going to be a great class. If you guys have not signed up, then you definitely need to. And Jack said she's coming. Jack said she is going to be there for the class. So that's awesome.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that she is coming, because then I'm going to let her teach like half the class and take a nap. I'll be in my hammock and I'll let her teach certain sections if I get tired. So that's nice.
That's it. Fill in.
Yeah.
And Jax is great at it.
You got to have cadre out there.
Yeah, this is going to be, and of course, if we get Chris there, Chris said he's going to be there. You may not even have to teach it all, but
that's
before
great.
It's all said.
Great. I tell you, the part I like to teach that I'll save for me is how to connect with your spirit animal, and the transcendental meditation piece. I'd like to retain that, but they can have the rest.
Well, look, guys, and Susan, we're going to miss you. I know you wanted to come to the class, and I'm sorry you can't, because we could have been doing Tim Tam slams and all this kind of stuff. It would have been a blast. But next one. Hopefully you can make it out to the next one. Alan, I ain't going to keep you no more, man. You sitting there in your truck, and I'm just super happy that you came and hung out with us, even though you had a ton of stuff to do.
Yeah, I'm on.
So
good to see you.
But guys, hey, for sure. Alan, till next time, brother. Do your thing. Tell your better half I said hey, and thanks for being understanding, so you could jump out here and talk and hang out with us, because it's been a blast. We need to do it again and get into a little more of the stuff that went on there on Alone, because I know that's just a little part of who you are, but watching you as you move through those 56 days was very entertaining, and I have questions about a lot of the stuff of where you were at mentally as you moved along through that 56 days.
I was in the now every second, like in the now. I didn't overthink it. I really didn't. Like, people like, I knew you were going to win, bro. I'm like, I didn't. There were some dudes out there that had mad skills, and we were totally isolated. Like, as they left, like, nobody knew. It wasn't like Hunger Games where they blast their face in the sky and you're like, all right, I'm down to 4. So like, in your mind, you're sitting there thinking there's probably like 8 dudes still out there, 6 dudes. And come to find out, no, they weren't still out there. But so you don't really know. But I didn't overthink that part too much either. Honestly, we were really tight, all of us. And I think not just myself, but for everybody else, we were mainly concerned about the other people's safety. Like, when I thought of the others, I was like, man, I hope they're really doing well, because that can be a very hard place in some ways. And in other ways,
area.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a brutal error. How many? You seem like there the last couple weeks there was a lot of ups and downs too. I mean, it's cold, it's raining. It looked like it was just you were wet nonstop, wet and cold.
Oh man, yeah, they measure the rain up there in feet, not inches. Literally, they get so many feet of rain per year. I think it's like 14 feet. But it's like living in a car wash. Every day. Like, you just. Gore-Tex I'm all about that. Now you better bring a hat. It rains. Yeah.
God bless you, man. God bless you.
It's that was the most demoralizing part, is never being dry for long.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, being wet is getting wet, getting soaked, and then throw cold on top of it. There's nothing worse than that right there. That's as bad as it gets. How many times was there a time where you're like, yeah, this is it, I can't do this anymore? I mean, or were you just mentally?
No, my needs were met, and I felt good and happy. I had my days where I was just like, how some days you just wake up, you're kind of in a mood anyway. For whatever reason, I had a little stick and I had notches, but for whatever reason, I remember day 40 was like, morale wise, I felt kind of low that day. But never at any point was I like, I'm going to leave, because I didn't think in terms of that. I was just going to go every day until I hit my wall, whatever that was. And I just never hit it. So I don't know. Like, that's
powering through.
There's nothing else sexy to say about it. Like, just in the now until whatever, and I just don't think about it. I think people overthink stuff. And I'm like, I'm just doing what I have to do now. Like, I talk to my wife, or I talk to my kids, or somebody come up to me with something with a sense of urgency, and I look at them like, we need to do that today. They're like, no, I was just thinking. I'm like, okay, well, it's not urgent. Like, there's a difference between need and want. You know what I mean?
No, that's a great way of looking at things. Guy, yeah, we're going to try to get Alan to mountain readiness. I don't know. He's a busy man, but if we can get him out there, we're going to get him out there. Just if nothing else, to hang out because pretty much it's a family reunion, pretty much. So
Yeah, true story.
Carl and Emery and Sue and I know Randy Worse is going to be coming, from my understanding.
Yes,
Which Randy, that's an awesome dude there.
man.
Hardcore to say the least. That there some stories of Randy, man. That guy with his knives, dude. Wow. Don't let that guy behind you. He's got. I think that dude's. He has stabbed a lot of people.
Speaking of, remind me. I've got something.
Speaking of,
I got a thing I want to send you. Remind me when you text me next or whatever to send you a video. I would have got something I want you to look at.
All right. I will check it out. What Alan have to say here? Let's see here. Tell the truth, Alan. You didn't know how to work the tap out phone. Now, I don't think he does. Alan don't tap out.
No, I do. He's probably right. Like I do suck at technology, bro. I barely get my phone to operate. I had to hand it to one of my daughters the other day and be like, make it do this thing. I can't. I don't know. Like I've not embraced. Sure. I've embraced technology very slowly. Like I just don't do a lot of it, you know.
I was 32 before I had a cell phone. That was when I first got a cell phone. Now I had one in my early 20s on a construction crew, the Nextel Talk to Touch, you know, the little orange walkie-talkie phones.
Yeah.
But I was 32 before I had a cell phone, and that I thought it was a great thing. Now I realize it completely ruins your life. So it really wasn't. It really. I was good doing without it for 32 years, to be completely honest.
The technology has outpaced anything. I can't even keep up with it. Like the phones, you know, they're obsolete so quick. And I was talking to my son the other day about Bitcoin and stuff, like it's hitting records. He understands it. I still don't know what it is. Where do they live? Where do you find it? I don't know. My mind can't conceive what it is, but he understands that world. And I'm still rubbing sticks. So I don't know. I'm just not that smart. I'm really not, but the things I am good at, I'm pretty good at. And
now I think you've got the important areas nailed down.
But like they keep talking to me about things that I don't understand, right? Like this OnlyFans thing. I don't know what it is, but everybody keeps telling me I should have one. Well, I don't even know what it is. So I don't know. I'm like, you know, and like Patreon, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to do that. I don't know where it lives, how to put my face on it.
It pisses me off. My phone, I just get figured out how to use something and then it updates. And then I start all over. Every time it updates, I've got to relearn the entire freaking phone.
Yeah, it's mainly Chris Weatherman always tells me I need an OnlyFans page, whatever that is. He understands all the technology.
Right.
He's more of a tech guy, but I don't. I can call you and text you, and that's about all I got.
No, that's good enough. That's good. And well, it's unanimous. Everybody's saying yes. Alan OnlyFans.
He keeps saying something about a helicopter dance and call sign tripod or some shit. I don't know. He's nuts.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
If you're gonna start an OnlyFans page, get in contact with Paul Christopher, and ask him about fancy jeans.
Paul's an expert.
Do you think Sue has one?
Is definitely an expert. Yeah.
You know, I bet you Sue has one.
Probably.
I bet you Sue has one. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt at
Paul
all.
Christopher and fancy jeans for OnlyFans. I'm telling you, you're gonna make money.
Yeah, and Paul is actually on here. I seen him roaming around. There he is. Paul says, sweet cheeks. There you have it. Yeah, good old sweet cheeks right there. A little sugar in his britches.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, buddy.
Brian got a little sugar in his britches. But all about those fancy jeans. What in the world is Susan saying here? Sue is just him and a monkey. Ooh, yeah, I don't even want to watch that.
Kiddie pool full of jello.
Worth watching. But hey, Alan, we appreciate you, brother. Looking
Yeah,
forward
man.
to seeing you there in January, guys. Remember, January 17th, 18th, and 19th. Come see us. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. It's going to be life changing. It's going to make you look at survival in a whole new way. I am sure of it. So, Alan, until next time, brother. Here
Yeah,
in a
man.
couple weeks.
Y'all have a good one.
We
Hope
see
everybody's
you.
doing good, man. Be
All right,
good.
boys.
Peace.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Later. All right. Well, and man, that was a good man. Oh, Alan, that guy can talk. That dude is that is a Renaissance man right there, to say the
He's a
least.
good dude. I mean, he's like
Renaissance man,
primitive, not modern like us. Primitive,
right?
primitive dude.
That's it. And speaking of primitive, how about the Dalton blade? Chris
Mm.
Weatherman, of course, from the Going Home.
right.
That knife is now out and it is for sale. It's awesome. It is, of course, Alan Kay had a part in designing that. It was Alan, Chris, and Donnie Dunn. Russ, you want to run the promo for that blade? Oh, man, look at that thing. And that handle, sweet. Have you seen these, Brian? You've seen these, haven't
Yeah.
you? The finished product?
Got my hands on
Oh,
it
yeah.
at the Blade Show.
Listen, here is the old we even added the slots in there for strapping the sheath down and stuff like that. Lovely blade, love it. Get yours. AngryAmerican.com, isn't that right, Russ? www.angryamerican, ANGERY American.com. I helped you spell angry. If you don't know how to spell American, you don't deserve this knife anyway. So awesome blade, awesome blade. Nielsen said he's getting his next week. Sweet, good for you, sir. Go ahead and jank that down. Do we have anything else that we're supposed to be running, Russ? I don't think so. I don't believe we are. So I have been, let's see here, Grit Down, of course, with Alan Kay. Guys, make sure to get, what do you got going on, Russ?
Okay, two things. Both Franklin Horton's new book, Willie, is out on Audible, as well as Pete Robertucci's Eden Army, book 3 in the series, is also out in Audible.
Right.
Oh, nice. Nice. Awesome. Mountain Readiness, guys. Tickets are on sale right now. Lowest they're going to be May 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and January 1st. Of course, everything starts going up. So if you have plans on coming to Mountain Readiness, grab your tickets now. Early bird pricing. And Paul says he already have Willie. Look, man, that's between you and that. Let's not go there. We don't have to get all crazy like that.
Listen, where's Christy at? Christy. She says, "Preach, Christy. You better be there.
Preach.
You better be there. Listen,
yeah,
like she nailed it. Christy nailed it at Troy's Gate.
Oh yeah, no, and of course you got the coveted rot pot, which I still mind blowing. Have no idea what is so spectacular about.
I want one so bad.
I mean, I get it, but holy crap, man! And Christy said, "Hey, Brian, we're just going through the line, and everybody's talking crap. Hey, there's Mrs. Mel of the Mountains, Melanie.
Oh, Mel, I love Mel.
What's going on?" Who are you talking about? Are you talking about Alan or are you talking about Brian? Who are we talking about?
Did you recognize him this time?
I don't know. But look here, guys.
Nobody
we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. And it was a good show. I like hanging out with Alan. That guy is just a plethora of knowledge, to say the least. Man, that guy, if I was lost in the woods, that would be the dude I'd want want to have with me, because that, and of course Jax, and now we know Jax is going to come hang. It's going to be like a reunion for us, man. This is going to be, if you guys aren't coming to this class, you are missing out. This is going to be a phenomenal, a freaking phenomenal class. So anywho, Russ, go ahead and run us out here, play us out, guys. Till next time, we'll see you next Monday. Be safe.